Hello, Peter.
Hello, Andrew.
Yeah, so we're having an issue. People are timing out. Are we to use port 22 when using PuTTY?
Yeah, I'm
Are we to use
on one of your local machines here when I'm showing it, so it can connect.
on port 20? So everybody is to use port 22.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So everyone to use port 22. Sorry about that.
For the initial login, yeah.
For the initial login.
Can you show us an example of the FQDN so that we can just copy that? Hello? No, on the spreadsheet.
Yeah, this is the FQDN here.
Yes, that's what we are looking for.
So each one should just take one of these, yeah?
All right. So, Peter, majority of people have logged in till step 2.
Okay, perfect.
So now for step 3.
I'll just close these ones.
We need one of these passwords there to maximize. What do you need? Automatic step 3.
This is what we're looking for.
Gotcha. Okay, so for step 3.
Yeah.
Well, that's done. Step 3 is done, right?
3 is done, should be. If you've got this screen which says ZenCash at Contabo 3, then you're logged in, yeah? So now we're up to step 4. And step 4 is SSH, and then root at, and then take your FQDN. Here, I'm taking 30, that's the bottom one.
That's Excel sheet. Maximize the screen. Or zoom in. Yeah. Okay, so these are the FQDNs.
Yeah. So I'm going to take this one, number 30, as an example. So then you can just, so once you've got SSH root at, then you can just, if you've copied it, then you can just right click and pasted in, so it should look like that.
All right, so if you had chosen number 5, for instance, you'd say SSH root at ZenCash training node 005, but ZenCash, the last part is the same for everyone.
No, the last part is not the same. They're different ones. This is because there's a limitation with registering on Let's Encrypt. So the first 10 have ZenCash training. The second 10, so 11 to 20, have a 1 at the end, and the third lot have a 2 at the end. They're 3 different domains.
Let's confirm everyone is on step 4. We'll get back to you, Peter. Step 4.
Particularly applications that are going to be on the internet, like the node, is that if there's a flaw in the application, somebody could hack it, and if the application is running as a root user, then they could potentially take over the entire system. So basically, we run the services as an unprivileged user, so that if somebody does that and hacks the system, then the amount of damage that they can do to the entire server or to the VPS is minimal. Yeah? They can do some damage, but not much. They require your password, they require various other things to be able to go any further. So that's the basic reason.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, there are no more questions. I think we can proceed.
Fantastic. Okay. Can you see?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So just stop me early if I'm breaking up again. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So yeah. So just to go quickly through it, I know I did it already, and we have time constraints. There are 2 pages, one of which is a list of VPS hosts where you might be able to rent an appropriate VPS to run a node. And the second one is if you can't, for whatever reason, either technical knowledge or just time or just because you're lazy, there's plenty of people that just rent services from people, so node hosting services. I'm one of those people. I'm listed in here on this one. Don't know why I've gone missing. Oh no, there it is. Yeah. So there you have my Discord name and so on. But there's various other people. Oh, there's also Paul, who's also on the line here and helped write it. And I imagine at some point Nate will turn up here as well. But Nate has done a great video here that's very clear on how to register a domain and how to create the records that are required for hosting a node. So I do encourage you to look at that. The link for the documentation is public, so you don't need to register or anything to be able to look at this documentation, so you can just have a look in your own time. There's also a video from Rolf Versluis, who otherwise known as BlockOps. If you're on the Discord, you'll see him logged in as BlockOps. So he's one of the co-founders of ZenCash and one of the people behind the idea of the secure node network. He's the chief engineer of the project, and very early on he did a video of what the secure node system looks like, essentially. So you can also watch that. And now we go into the actual part of the first verifications that you do. Once you've done the registration of the FQDN and so on, then there's a verification step to actually verify your node.
Peter.
Yes.
Hello? Does the user have to be in capital?
No, it can be whatever.
Command?
Can be anything.
Oh.
I mean, I would suggest not using like special characters at all, just letters and numbers. But apart from that, it can be capitals or non-capitals, it doesn't matter.
What do you do when it hangs?
Sorry?
What do you do when the terminal hangs, the putty session?
I
You
guess
have to
you just have to
restart.
log back in again, yeah?
Alright, Peter, we can proceed.
Okay.
Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once everybody's done that, essentially what we've done is just set an environment variable there so that we can refer to this later on in the script. So, I mean, for the rest of the guide, you can pretty much just, if you double click on these boxes in the guide, yeah, then you can just actually just copy them automatically, right? So copy, and then just right click them in here. Like so.
All right. Everyone have the guide. Just a second, Peter. Let's everyone have the guide. So the guide is found at documentation.zencash.com. All right. So let's proceed. Alright. And go to this part. Add a non-root user to a secure root. We'll be copying this command away. Alright, so Peter, we can proceed.
Okay. So if you double click all of these commands, if you double click them and click copy, then you can just right click and paste it into the command window here. Yeah.
Right.
So you can just paste it and then press enter, and then it will ask you for a password. Yeah. So this password is for your user account, the one that you created here, and this will be the user that will run the actual node. So just at this point in this one, I mean, we don't have to worry about being too secure at this point. Let's just make them simple. Don't put too much thought into it. Something like password will be fine. Because yeah, we're only going to be running on the test net. We're not using real money.
All right, please pause there. So I hope you understood. You copy this command.
And just on this command as well, as you type in a password, it won't display the password, so you don't expect to see keystrokes there.
All right, so it won't display the password. Is anybody getting the error user successful? Great. Peter, we're getting some people having an error that says user root already exists. What could be the issue?
I think that if they put user in capitals equals root for the first command, or that either means they've specified user equals root, or it's using the environment variable hasn't been set correctly. So they can just run the command above again.
Okay. All right.
So they need to, in capital letters, user equals, and then specify a username. And they can copy what Peter's done on the screen if that's easier. User equals bstew.
Right. So just repeat. Those who are getting that error, repeat what's on the capital user is equal. Then here we have bstew. You guys can try different Wi-Fi networks. Some are doing Cubase, some are doing Strathmore. Otherwise, or use cable. There's also cable. All right, Peter, you can proceed.
Okay. So again, we're just switching now. So this command allows you to change over to that new user that you've just created. So again, it's just copy, right? Double click, copy, paste. It will then ask you for the password. Oh no, just go straight in because you're root. In fact, yeah.
Because of time, we'll just proceed because now it's a matter of following the tutorial. Try as much as possible to look at what he's doing. All right, Peter, we can proceed. Hello, Peter.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think I'm going to take over for the next. Do you want me to take over for the next section?
I mean, I've got
Peter?
7 minutes, or you can take it over straight away. Yeah, probably from the next section is good. If everybody gets to this point, so we've just CD'd into the home directory, and you can see that here. And then, yeah, Paul's going to take over to do the next part. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, Peter.
Okay, so I'm just bear with me while I get my bearings. Okay, so everybody's got their
Paul,
user.
you'll also have to share on the, or I can share. What do you want? You have to share on the Google Hangouts as well.
Ah, right. Okay. Just 1 second.
I'll just stop presenting.
Can you just confirm in the room that you can see the screen? Okay.
Screen. Yes,
Sorry,
you
was
can
that-
see the.
Oh, okay, great, excellent. Okay, so let's have a look where we are. Okay, fine. So essentially, the next 2 steps in the guide are for people who already have a non-root user. So you can skip steps 7. You would skip anyway because you're not using. And what we're going to do now is install the required packages to run Zen. At the bottom of this section, we actually verify that the hardware is sufficient to act as a secure node, and it also has some mitigation steps if it isn't. But as Peter said, it should be sufficient, the hardware we are running on. And part of this guide part of this section is also to configure the Zen daemon for the first time. Now, the first command we're going to use here actually is similar to what we did in the last section, where we set an environment variable to the value of the user that we wanted to add.
The tutorial, right?
It is, that's correct. Yeah, we're on part 3. And then I'm going to copy the FQDN that I've used to log into the server and paste it here as well. So as you can see, I've specified the FQDN for this particular install as ZenCash training node 30.zencashtraining2.icu, and then I can just hit enter. Oh yeah, and just to be clear, in order to copy in a putty window, it's very simple. You essentially just select the text, and once you let go of the left mouse button, it's copied, and you can simply right-click again in the window, and you can see there that it's pasted immediately. So every time you log in to the secure node with this user account, you will always have the FQDN environment variable available to you. So it's handy to set it at this point. So we copy the next command, and again, just right-click on here and press enter. And now again, just double-click, copy it, and then paste it on the command window. Oh, I managed to paste it twice. That was a deliberate error, just to show you that even I'm fallible.
So is it slow because of the many instances?
I believe so, yes. That's why you may find if if the people there take it home and complete the guide at home, you'll have a really, a very quick interaction with the command line.
Yeah.
Doing anything now?
No, I think I've tried to delete the first bit, but it might delete the whole command.
We've now pressed backspace so many times. It's just going to disappear.
So I'll tell you what.
I can log in from home as well. So
yeah, sure, go for it, Peter. So let me just explain the next few points in the guide. Then, if the people in the room are ready to go, so you will. I assume that when you hit that command, you saw a number of lines saying it was updating package cache. Can you confirm that you saw that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. So let's just expand. And the reason I'm expanding here is because it's a significantly long command for the next couple of commands. So as I mentioned, the main usage of apt-get is to install software. Now, what we're doing here is installing all of the required bits of software that allow us to not only add Zend, but also the other packages that we need throughout the guide, for example, to get a certificate for it. So you should be able to just double-click this command, again, copy it, and then just paste it into your command window. Now, that might take a little bit of time, because what it's going to do is firstly download all of these packages and then install them on the secure node.
Paul, I sent you the password in the thing there.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you,
The
Peter.
password is password.
Okay,
just create a new session. Just put.
And
It's there. It's loaded. It's loaded. Just load that one.
okay. And the root password? This is in the document.
ZenCash training ! Hash.
This is where right.
I just put it in the Discord as well. Wait, maybe it's no.
If I log in as ZenCash rather than root.
Yeah, you have to log in as ZenCash. Yeah.
Apologies. Hang on. Right, maybe this terminal session is back.
Yako inawaka. Ama unatuvako. Inawaka ama unatuvako.
How are you getting on in the room and with the install? Is it still downloading and installing the software?
For most, it's umefika ZenFetch parameters.
Someone mentioned ZenFetch parameters. Have you got that far already, someone?
Sorry? Sorry, please repeat that.
I was just really querying the status in the classroom there. Where have you got to? Have you continued through the other commands?
No. Has anyone else managed to proceed? Someone here? There. Anyone else? Reading for what? So majority. The challenge is speeds. It's hanging. Or the Saba. Saba, anyone else with a different issue? It's working. So quite a number. It's hanging. For some, it's hanging but moving. If you give it a bit of time.
Sure.
Yeah.
No
So
problem.
it's a mix. I'm able to proceed. Some are not.
It may help if you're able to double up in the room, perhaps have two people share a terminal and close the session down that you're not using. That might give us some bandwidth potentially.
That's a good idea. What if we proceed tomorrow, but we do it in pairs? Because also I can see the time has run out. Double up, but so that we have fewer sessions to the server.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And as we mentioned earlier on, if you have putty at a machine at home, there's no reason why you can't continue following the guide. The documentation is public. If you just remember that we've got up to what is it? So we've just done 3.3. And if you're not sure if you've run 3.3 and 3.4, there is no harm in running those two again, just to make sure you're absolutely certain that they've both run successfully.
Yeah. So sorry, there's a question.
Sure.
I'm actually at number 11, and it's telling me unable to establish SSL connection.
Did you get that?
Yeah, which command were you running specifically? Is it the third or the fourth one?
Number 11, I think you said.
Ah, right, I see. Number 11.
It's the connection is breaking. Sorry.
Which command was it you were running? Was it the
yes.
number 11?
So error negative.
Unable to establish SSL connection.
So the error is unable to establish SSL connection. Quiet down, please.
Yeah, now there's no reason that shouldn't complete successfully. I suggest the best thing to do is we can take that one away and just confirm on one of our local machines that there's no problem with the.
We'll also check the test machines as well to make sure they can do it. Yeah.
So it sounds like what the server that it fetches the parameters from, it's having trouble establishing an SSL connection. That's essentially just a secure connection to that server. I suspect it will be the connection from the host that you are on, as opposed to a problem with the server itself.
Okay. Let me get you.
Okay, so it sounded like you were thinking we should probably wrap up and do a bit of double teaming tomorrow. So let's do that tomorrow morning. Yeah. In the meantime, Peter and myself can have a look at the hosts. Just make sure there's no routing problem which is causing that SSL error.
Yeah, I'm testing here from locally, and there's no slowdown in the server at all. So I can only think that it's the bandwidth problem from there. I mean, it is connecting to Europe as well, so that could be part of the problem. But yeah, this server has plenty of resources to handle a few setups, so I can only imagine it's the bandwidth.
Okay, so shall we meet tomorrow?
Absolutely, yeah, we'll be here tomorrow.
So here breakfast will be 30 and then we can proceed. All right, so Peter and Tim, thank you very much. Let's touch base tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll double team, and also I think bandwidth will be better because there are not many students around.
Great, yeah.
The better bandwidth and double team. We'll be in pairs. Not everyone will connect to the session. That might help.
Yeah, you've
We
also
may
got
find-
you've got other students on campus today as well, all trying to use the bandwidth, of course.
Okay, excellent. We'll regroup in the morning then. Thank you very much for listening.
Yeah.
So, yeah.